Alexa, play Richer by Rod Wave.
Richer, featuring Polo G by Rod Wave from Spotify.
I'm richer than I've ever been. I'm richer than I've ever been. Richer than I've ever been. I'm richer than I've ever been. Richer than ever. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Nurse Lexi. I know it has been months. I know you guys are used to my inconsistency now, so thank you guys for just accepting me for who I am. Very inconsistent, very much just like living life and not so much documenting it. So thank you for your patience. My last video was about how I quit my job and I was on my way to North Carolina for my first travel assignment. I spent 3 months in North Carolina, and then I spent 1 month in New York City, and now I'm doing a local contract. So I'm almost done with my third travel assignment. Kind of crazy. So on Instagram, here in the comments, I get a lot of questions now about travel, since that's what I'm doing now full time. So I wanted to just address like the frequently asked questions, or just give a really good overview for you guys that want to get into travel that don't know much about it. So what is travel, and did travel exist before COVID? So yes, travel nursing existed way before COVID. It has always been an option for nurses as long as you have the number of years of experience. So pretty much as a traveler, you're expected to be able to work as a nurse after maybe a few hours of orientation or up to 2 days. For me in North Carolina, I got 2 full days of orientation, and then in my local one, I got 1.5 days of orientation before I was expected to take my own assignment. So that kind of goes along with how much experience do you need to be a traveler. Because you're expected to come in and work without a lot of training, you do need to have experience in that specialty. So the golden standard is like 2 years. With 2 years of experience in that specialty, you can work, you can work as a traveler. Some places will take you with 1 year. With COVID, we saw a lot of hospitals being more lenient. And then when things settled down, they kind of went back to their 2-year mark. And you guys know that I started at like 15 months, so I didn't have my 2 years, but I was still able to find places that were taking me on under 2 years. It's just a little bit more difficult, and you just can't be as picky because some places won't take you. So I suggest waiting the 2 years, but if you feel ready after 1.5 years, if you feel safe, confident, comfortable, you feel like you adjust to change quickly, you're a quick learner, you can go in and take that assignment after 1.5 days of orientation, learn their charting system, learn how they page the doctors, learn just how they do things, their policies. If you feel like you can do that after 1.5 years safely, then girl, go ahead and do it. Because I mean, people were telling me that I was doing it too soon, and I'm actually doing good as a traveler. So up to you. Think about the amount of training you have and how comfortable you are. But like I said, the gold standard or whatever is 2 years. So another question I get asked is like, do you have to work more than 36 hours? So no, you can find contracts for 36 hours still. You can find contracts for 48 hours. You can find contracts for 60 hours. But yeah, you don't have to work more than 36 hours. When I went to North Carolina, I did 48 hours nights. I'll probably never do that again. I just felt like I was working all the time.
I don't even have time for my love life, to see my family. I don't even have time for nothing. I'm working every single day. I'm depressed.
I'm especially doing nights, doing 4 nights, and I didn't have block scheduling. So sometimes I was working like 2 on, 1 off, 1 on, 1 off, 1 on, like, or 2 on, 1 off, 2 on. It just felt like I never had a lot of days off. Okay, so another huge question is about housing. So everyone wants to know, do they set you up with housing, or do you have to find your own housing? And the answer to that is yes, either one. You can find your own housing, or you can have your agency find the housing for you. But let me give you a tip. If you want to make money, the way to make the most money is to look for your own housing so that you can pocket the housing stipend. So the way that you can make the most money is for you to look for your own housing, look for cheap or affordable housing that you're comfortable with, and living there so that you can pocket most of the untaxed housing money. That's how you make the most money. For example, in North Carolina, I found housing. It was like about $1,000 a month, right? So my housing was about $1,000 a month, and just my housing stipend was probably like, housing and meals was more than $1,000 a week. It was probably like, let's say $1,250 a week for housing and meals. So that's like $5,000 a month I'm getting for housing, right? And I'm only spending $1,000 on the place that I'm living. So I'm pocketing about $4,000 untaxed money a month. Like, that's how you make your money. And on top of that, I'm also making my hourly pay that is getting taxed. I hope that makes sense. And then to go along with that, so housing, like, maybe I'll make a whole nother video on housing, because I even have like my own horror stories about housing, especially in New York. It was a mess. But pretty much there's different websites you can use. You can use Furnish Finders, which is kind of tailored like more towards nurses. You can use Airbnb, you can use hotels, extended stays. A lot of these agencies will give you their corporate code so that you can get a discount. But my biggest tip for housing is do not sign a 3-month Airbnb contract unless you see the place. I know people that have signed on and then you go there and it's a mess, or it's not in a safe neighborhood, or it's just not, it doesn't look like how it was pictured. Or let's say you sign 3 months, you like it, but you get canceled after a month because it was a crisis contract. You're not gonna get your money back, most likely. Most likely, you're not gonna get your money back. So you have to be really smart when you're signing. I would never sign before I see the place. And then I would never sign for a full 3 months. I would try to do month by month. So that's pretty much everything about housing. The next question is like, how much do you get paid? So how much you get paid is gonna vary based on location. It's gonna vary based on the hours that you work. It's gonna vary based on, right now it's gonna vary based on like COVID, and if it's a crisis contract or if it's like a regular contract. In general, the places that pay more are like California and like New York City, New York. But then you also want to take into account the taxes. So let's say, for example, California has a $5,000 contract, and then Texas has a $4,000 contract for the same amount of hours. Basically, you will probably get more money working in Texas because Texas doesn't have state tax, versus California, which California is just known for taxing so much of the income. So like, your net pay would probably be higher in Texas than California, even though the gross in California is higher. So you definitely want to think about taxes and things like that, and also cost of living. How much is it going to cost you to live in California for 3 months versus Texas or Georgia or Florida for 3 months? So you can figure out like the net pay, like how much are you really making? Because the gross pay can look good, but if you're going to lose a lot of it to taxes and to where you're living, you know, you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? So how much you get paid varies, but you definitely make twice, 3 times, 4 times as much as you would have if you were staff, okay? That's why I played Richer by Rod Wave in the beginning, because when I was in North Carolina, honey, doing a crisis COVID contract, getting paid every week, thousands every week, like I was making like $2,000 max as a full-time nurse every 2 weeks, and I was making way more than that in 1 week. So you can get paid really well. Just make sure that you're looking at all the factors before you go ahead and sign a contract. Another question I get is about insurance. So short answer for that, a lot of companies will give you insurance so you can get it through the company. They'll take the money out of your paycheck. but in between contracts, it might lapse if you take too much time off. Or you can get your own private insurance. I went ahead and got my own private insurance. It's not like the best coverage, honestly. I just wanted to make sure that I had some type of coverage. Even if I wanted to take a month off, you know, it wouldn't lapse because it's my own private insurance. So I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just going to end it with a few tips for you guys. Again, just talking about experience. Do not travel before you're ready. This is your license. You worked so hard for this license. You went through nursing school. You took the NCLEX. You cried. You stressed yourself. All this stuff for this nursing license. Do not lose it. Do not travel before you're ready and put yourself and your patients in unsafe situations. That is number one, okay? Also, if you are a med-surg nurse, you cannot travel as an ICU nurse. You need to have experience in that specialty, 1 to 2 years in that specialty. So if you are an ICU nurse, you cannot travel as an OR nurse. Like, just stay in your lane. If you're ER, do ER. If you're med-surg, do med-surg. Step down, obviously. Don't try to switch it because one specialty is paying more. Like, you need experience in that specialty, or else you could kill people. It's not like a joke. Use multiple agencies. These agencies, these hospitals, they need you, okay? They need nurses. That's why they're hiring. That's why they're willing to pay so much more, because they need you. So don't just stick to one agency and one recruiter, because I promise you, you are not going to get the best package. Let's talk about that really quick. So when I was going to North Carolina, I had signed on for I saw my contract and everything, and it was like, I'll just throw the number out. It was like $50 an hour. And I was like, oh, like, this is really good compared to like $20-something an hour that I was making in Florida, you know? So I was like, my first contract, 50-something an hour. But then I started noticing on Facebook groups, join a lot of travel Facebook groups, I was seeing the same city that I was going to for a way higher hourly rate. So I ended up screenshotting it to my recruiter and saying, hey, like, can you guys match this? Because this is the same city, the same number of hours, possibly the same facility, and they're getting paid so much more. So I ended up screenshotting that, sending it to my recruiter, and then he ended up matching what I was seeing being advertised on Facebook through different agencies. So you have to look out for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. You can negotiate. You can try to negotiate pay. The worst they can say is no. You know what I mean? But I would have lost out on so much money. I would have went to the hospital, and you talk to other travelers, and I would have told them, yeah, I'm making $50. They would have been like, girl, your agency is robbing you. So work with multiple agencies. Compare different packages. Don't feel pressure to sign on to the first package that you see. Like, take your time, research the facility, join the Facebook groups, compare offers, things like that. So you have to advocate for yourself. Sign up for at least 3 travel agencies, at least. And the last tip is to have fun, okay? Like, of course you want to make money. Of course, with COVID, there's like high rates and crazy this, crazy that. But if you don't want to work 60 hours a week, don't sign on for 60 hours. If you don't want to go to Timbuktu, don't go there. Like, go places you want to go. Work how many hours you want to work. Go someplace that you want to explore, like, when you're off, you know? Like, of course, there's going to be times when you're like, I don't care where I go, I'm going to grind it out. That was me in North Carolina. I was just grinding it out, working. But also, you want to have fun. So just keep your work-life balance. Work your 3 months. Take like a week, 2, 4 weeks off, whatever works for you. That's the thing about travel. It's flexible. Like, you can make it work for you. So I definitely do not regret becoming a travel nurse. I do not miss being staff. Never, not one day. My worst day as a traveler is still better than my best days as full-time. Okay, honey, and my bank account agrees with me. So do what you have to do. I hope this was helpful. You guys, leave questions down below if you want more information about pay breakdowns. If you guys want like paycheck reveal, let me know. If you want specific housing, like what housing did I use, or like what agencies do I use, leave some comments down below so I'll know that y'all are interested and I can make videos on that. That's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get notified when I drop new videos. Follow me on Instagram, Nurse Lexi. Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time.